Okay, guys, let's secret assignment together, right? So there's some common mistakes you guys do make, right? See, when you guys coding, make sure you are look at the property, right? Not just Louis, okay? I'm talking to everyone. First name, last name, okay. We have department, we have telephone. And when come here, it's become year. Do we have a particular year? No, we don't have, right? Okay. And also welcome. I didn't ask you to create method called welcome, right? I'm also create about. And this comma, is gonna work or not? I don't think comma is gonna help you connect it, right? Concatenate the string. Class manager, employee, name. Look at here, Louis. No indentation. Okay, no indentation. Right? Super self line number 2021 should belongs to the it function, right? This super is good, and we have above self. Okay, class directory is a manager. Okay, then you can have name department, name department level. Name department level is the parameter which is passing to the parent. I have assistant direct report, right? Direct report, which is fine. It's assistant direct report. And here, same mistake, right? Indentation. Forget indentation. Super dot about. Yeah, this is good, right? You're calling the parent class dot about function, right? And then you have Bob create as a secretary with the name of May. So when you have the variable, right, make it a meaningful variable. Okay. If you have the name as May, you better have a name, May, right? Not Bob. Right? Okay, admin, Tommy, you just find in there. Okay. But you didn't really create a director, right? There's no director here. Okay, Louis, right? So several places you can improve. Okay. And yeah, so Victor, it didn't turn in the assignment, so it's too difficult, or we don't have time. Victor?
I think I did.
You did? I didn't see you, right? You haven't turned in. Which one?
I'm Infinity Victory.
Oh, this is yours. Sorry about that. When did you turn in? Today? Okay, let's look at that, right? So this is last week, right? Not this week. This one? Yeah, this is person teacher, right? This is last week's Victor. Okay. So, fellas, you also didn't turn in assignment. So you have a question or difficulty to finish that? Fellas?
I didn't do it.
Yeah, so because what? Because you think it's too difficult, or you just don't have time. You're busy with something else.
I don't have a lot of time this week. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, you guys attended the Thursday's meeting, right? Thursday's class, right? So that is a problem. I don't know, right? If you don't give me the question, okay? I go through the assignment on Thursday, right? Step by step, right? Even I recorded in the video, even you don't have time or you didn't participate in the whole class, you can always watch the video. If you look at the video, I don't think it's too difficult to finish assignment, right? I almost give the full code, right, in a class. Okay. If you really don't have time, then it's another story. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so I hope everyone can keep working hard. Okay. So let me quickly review the assignment first. Okay. So I just using the code I used on Thursday. Okay. So if you look at the requirements, okay, when you do the assignment, please look at the requirement first, right? We said we need to create a system for a company. Okay? Right? Company usually consists of different departments, right? We can use different modules for different departments. Okay. And here we said the whole system has 3 modules: employee module, salary module, and a company module. Listen, what's the meaning of module? What's the concept of module?
Multiple like files.
Multiple file?
Module, right?
Yeah, what is a module in Python? Is it multiple file?
It's
You
like
think? See, first you guys have to understand and clear about the concept. If you don't even understand the concept, then how can you create and practice module? Module is a code library. Code library is something like a bundle of functions or class together. And usually, okay, one module is one file. Okay, a file containing a set of functions you wanted to include in your application. That's called module. Okay, one module, one file. Why do we need to have module? Why we cannot put everything together in one file? Because if you separate different function into different file, into different module, those modules will be easy to maintain and reusable. Understand? Okay. So that is concept of module. See here, right? To create module, just to save the code you want in a file with a file extension py, right? Py is a file extension for the Python file. So once you create a Python file, you just create a module. So look at here. Right? We said create 3 modules: employee module, salary module, and a company module. So basically you need what? 3 different Python files. Okay? You can use this module name as the file name. Right? So what I'm doing here is I'm using I create employee module. Okay, this is my file name. Of course, but it's not mandatory to have module in the file name. Okay, and I have salary modules, and I have a company module. I have 3 modules. Now let's take a look at what is the main thing inside each module. Right? So employee module. This module contains all employee classes. Okay, so we know, okay, in this employee module, a Python file, I need to put all the class definition, right? Class definition. Alice, what is the keyword we're using to create a class?
Class.
Yes, very good, right? So now if you go to the employee module, what do you see here is if I collapse the code, right? So if you're doing that in a PyCharm, you have a feature to collapse the code. What do you see? I collapse the block of code of each class. You just clearly see, hey, there's a full class definition, nothing else. Okay, if you look at the class definition, right, Victor, can you tell me their relationship? Victor, just look at this. Tell me their relationship.
The class the employee is basically like the parent class, and the
Mhm.
secretary and manager is the child class of the employee, and the director is the child class of the manager, which is
Very
the
good.
child class of the employee.
Yeah, very good, right? So you can clearly say, right? Basically, when we define a class, no matter it's a parent class or child class, the only difference here is, right? If it has a parent class, you need to put the parent list, right? And you need to put the parent class name inside it, okay? And here we can see employee, there's no parent list, so which means it doesn't have any parent class. Secretary, manager, they are the child class of employee parent class, right? Director, you're gonna see his parent class is manager. Okay, so from just the first line of the class definition, we can clearly see the relationship between each class. Okay, so then, right, what's the meaning of one class is another class's parent class? What's the meaning of parent class, and what's the impact, or what's the benefit is bring, right, by the parent class? Louis, what's the meaning of the relationship?
So a parent class, it holds everything, and then like the children class can like obtain everything from the parent class.
Okay, very good. When we say parent children class, we talking about one keyword called inheritance. Inheritance, okay, that's a character of the class relationship. If you are the children class and you have a parent class, you inherit all the properties and functions from your parent class. So how about that? Let's look at the parent class first. Employee, very basic parent class. Okay, what do we have here? Julian, tell me, what do we have in the employee class?
Name and department.
Okay, we call them what? We call them properties. Okay, we call them properties. So in the employee class, we have only one init function, right? Right. Pay attention here is double underscore, right? So that is how to say a default function, right? It will be invoked when you create object of this class. Okay. So when create objects of this class, we need to have to parse in two property value, name and department. Okay. Nathan, what's the meaning of object and class?
Class is like class director and class manager.
Okay.
And an object is like a person, like an employee.
The relationship between object and class is class, we also name it as prototype, template. It's an abstract definition. Okay. But when we say object, which means it's a detailed, solid instance, okay, of that class. For example, here, okay, here I have two property, name and department. Okay, so based on this class definition, I know if I wanted to create an employee object, it must have name and department, right? So if I'm doing like that, right, I said, hey, May or John is an employee. I want to create a John as the object of class what? Employee. Okay, so here when I put the parent list, right, we need to put name and department. Okay, name is John, right? Department is admin. Okay, so I just simply create an object of class employee. And of course, right, you can create what? As many as object as you want. Okay. So here, I create object of class employee. Okay, it's just like a template or prototype, right? It's created from. And the name and department, okay, this is a property. You cannot omit it. It's required. Okay, so that's a simple employee class. Now let's take a look at the second class called a secretary. Okay, secretary, it has employee at his parent class. So in his init function, we have to parse in whatever the value of property needed by its parent class, as well as whatever the property which is specific to that child class. So in this case here, right, name department, you have to provide, right, because you are the employee. Telephone, yes, if you are secretary, telephone is mandatory. But if you are the just normal employee, you don't have telephone. Okay, so that is the meaning of secretary and its property. Okay, so here super.init, right? Super.init. Nathan, what does the super mean here?
It inherits the functions.
Inherits the function.
What it does.
Victor, what is super here?
I don't know.
Okay, so if I execute this line, super.init, which line or which function gonna be called?
Name and department.
Which line? I mean, which line? If I debug my code and put a breakpoint here,
4.
line number 4, very good. Why is line number 4? Because super, which means my parent. Okay, so this line is actually doing is, hey, call my parents init function. So which is what? Which is line number 4. Okay, so super is the reference of your parent class. And what it's doing here is I'm first calling my parent to initialize these two properties. Then I just initialize the left property needed by secretary class. Very good. So next one is I create one more function called about. What I'm doing in the about function, pretty simple, right? I create the messages. My name is self.name. I'm using the basic add plus symbol to concatenate the string, right? Why do we need using self.name? Listen, why do we need using self.name? What's the meaning of self here?
Self.name.
Yeah. What is self.name?
Name of object.
Name of the object? So name of the object. Self is the reference of the object. Okay, if you already know, if you're already asking me what is the self, you have to tell me what is the object. For example, when the object is John, the self is John. When the object is Jake, the self is Jake. So the self is a reference to the current instance or current object. Okay, that's the reason why we said, hey, you wanted to print out about me, you have to tell me whatever the value you have, right? Name or department, right? But the self dot is required. Okay, self dot is required. Okay, and you can see every function inside class, right? It has self right, at the first parameter. Okay, at the first parameter. When you call the function, you don't need to have to pass in any value for the parameter. Now we have done the secretary. Let's look at and manager. Okay, manager. So Louis, what do I have in my manager class?
You have like the self.level and everything above it.
Say that again, sorry.
You have the self.level and everything in the parent.
Okay, look at here, right? Whatever the parameter value I'm putting here, name, department, level, they must be the one you're using inside it. Okay, don't make a mistake or just copy it from somewhere and you forgot to change the name of the property. So what does mean? I'm passing the name or the value of a name and department property to my parent init function, as well as I initialize my own property for the level, right, with the level value passed in. Okay, so about, right, here we also have about function. About same thing parsing itself. The only difference here is we're using a different string format, right, to concatenate the string. Okay, Nathan, tell me how we do that.
Do what?
Do what? Do the string format. Which line of code we're talking about right now?
24.
Yeah. How do we understand 24?
The first S is self.name. The second
What does
person,
S mean? What is the percentage S stands for?
self.name, self.level, self.department.
That stands for a string. Okay, there's something like a placeholder for a string. Okay, so from where I can get the value?
From self.name equals name, self.department.
Okay, has to be attention here, right? This is a complete string, right? Wrapped it by single quote. I'm place what? Place the string placeholder. Have a percentage S or percentage D for number. Okay, remember when the percentage S for string, percentage D for number, and then we're using percentage to concatenate, right? The value. Right? We have a practice and have a list of the value. So this value is one by one mapping, right, into the placeholder. Okay, so the order matters. The order matters. The type also has to be the same. You cannot just here put a percentage S, which is a string, and you're passing a value. Okay, so which is not correct. Okay, so that is the managed class, right? Finally, let's take a look at direct class. Okay, direct class. Fellas, okay, what are all the property do we have in the direct class?
What?
What are all the property do we have in the direct class?
Um.
What's the properties?
I don't know.
What's the property of direct?
Class is the child class of the manager.
Yeah, correct. Right. Direct is a child class of manager. Manager is his parent class. But my question is, what are the properties does a direct class have? Louis.
That
What's the property does direct class have?
I don't know.
You should know. What means property? You need to take a look at what's the property assigned to him, right? Julian, what's the property does a direct class have? Huh? I cannot hear you. Julian?
Department.
Name, department. What else?
Level.
Level. Okay, what else?
Assistant.
Assistant.
And direct report.
These are, right, all the properties that director has. Okay, and among them, name, department, level, that the property inherits from my parent class. But assistant and direct report, they are the property of myself. Fellas, now you understand. These are the properties, okay, one class have. Okay, so this above class, okay, this above function, the difference for this above function is we have a super dot above. Okay, Jeffrey, you're late.
Yeah, I just got back, so.
Okay, quite busy. So can you help us answer this question? What is the line number 34 super dot about doing?
Okay, super, it gets back the information about.
So basically I'm asking you, if I have a debug running here, then I proceed, which line of code it will be executed if I call super dot about? Which line of code? Nathan, do you know? Who is super? Who is super here? Huh? I just explained what's the meaning of super, right?
Yeah.
Who is super?
Parent class.
What? Who is the super referred to here?
Manager.
Manager, right? Thank you, Aston. I said it again. Super is his parents. Who is the parent of director? It's manager. So whatever you see super dot, which means it call the init function of parent class, right? Same thing here, you call super the about, which means you call the about function of your parent, which is here, line number 23. That's called super. Okay? Okay, besides that, I still print out my other information, right? But here, I have to emphasize this, right? So you're gonna see self.assistant.name. Hey, a little bit different from previous, right? How previous cases, how we access the variable, like self.name, self.level. We know name level is the property of the class, so I can use that. But what happened here is when the self.assistant.name, as well as when the self.direct report practice labs. What does it mean? Why is different? Jason, do you know why it is different? Why do we need the self.assistant.name here?
Is it because if it doesn't have assistant, it takes the parent class's object?
What's the type of assistant class it is? What's the type of the assistant variable or property it is? We know name, we know department, we know level. They are what? They are just a pure simple string, right? It's a string. But the assistant and direct report is different, right?
It's integer.
It's an integer. Which one is the integer?
The self.direct report.
Self-direct is an integer? Are you sure? I'm using length friend list, self-directed.
The len will give you the number of items in direct report, and the number of items will be an integer.
Yes, the length is the way how we get the size or the count of the item from a list, right? But what is exactly inside the list? So we know direct report is the list, okay? This property is a list type. But what do we have inside the list? Anybody can answer this question? Of
Manager.
course, it's not the integers. Say it again.
Manager.
Manager. Okay, very good, right? It's a list of manager. Okay, it's a list of manager, right? Imagine in the real estate world, right? Assistant is must be what? Must be a secretary, right? Secretary object. Okay, it's an object of secretary class. And meanwhile, direct report is a list. Okay, it can be like one to more, one to many relationship. It's a list of manager object. Okay, manager object. That's the reason why when we are using the property, we can use it like that. Self.assistant.name. Why we have .name? Because self.assistant is what? Is a secretary object. The secretary has name, department, telephone. That's the reason why I can use the self.assistant.name. Same thing here. Self.direct report. Okay, direct report is the list of managers. That's the reason why I can use length of a list, which is returning a size or the number. And then I'm using str, because why? Because you have to convert it from integer to a string in order to be able to concatenate it with other string. Okay? Any question for the assistant and direct report? I know here is a little bit confused, right? Are we clear about this? Assistant and direct report? Fellas, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So here, right? Suppose I create employee, I can also create secretary. So when I create secretary, okay, Alice, how can I create secretary? What value should I put here?
You can put
First, answer my question. How many value I need to put here? Alice.
2.
Two. What are they? From where you make the judges two? How do you think it's two? Why? I'm just curious.
You need a name and like a I don't know.
If you want to create object, right? By the way, we have to restart the meeting. Okay? If you create the secretary class object, you have to take a look at the definition of the class. The init function has what? 3 properties, which means when you create an object, you have to pass 3 property values. Okay, 3 property values. You understand what I'm talking about? When I create an object of a class, right, you need to know how many parameter of how many property I need to pass when I create that, right? By looking what? By looking at its init function. So for secretary, the name, department, and telephone. Okay, so I need to put May is a name, right? Department and telephone. Okay. So, fellas, can you answer my question again? How can I create manager? This is a manager class. Now you create manager. Fellas, first you need what? What's the
Manager.
class name, right?
Yeah.
And make sure it's exactly the same, okay? Now what should I put? I need to pass in the parameter or property value, right? How many property value I need to pass? Fellas,
You need 3.
3. Okay, what are they?
Name, department, and level.
Okay, name is Tom, okay? So I said, right, try to make the variable name is close to the value, okay? You cannot say, hey, I create a manager called Tom. For the variable, you call Richard, something else, right? So this is not a meaningful. Okay, department, right? So you can put any department like, I don't know, finance, right? What else, fellas?
The level.
Level, okay. So in my description of assignment, right, you can put senior or junior, whatever, right? Okay, so that we have create manager, right? So if I copy that, I said Linda, okay, I'm gonna create a second manager, right? It'll be different department, right, at a different level. Okay, so now I want to create a director. Nathan, how we create director?
What's a director?
Huh?
What's a director?
You tell me what's a director?
I don't know.
What's director?
Director is a sub class.
Director is a sub class, right?
Oh,
Nathan, who is the parent class of director?
manager?
Manager. Okay, now I want to create director. Okay, so I create a director for the director class name. What should I put in there? Huh?
In the parentheses, you put
What should I put here? Value. How many values should I put?
manager.
Huh?
Manager.
Name. What else? What's the second value I need to put?
Oh, name. Department.
Department. What else?
Level.
Okay. What else?
Assistant and direct report.
Okay. What should I put for the assistant director of report? Huh? What should I put here?
The secretary and manager names.
Secretary and manager name? Oh,
Like John, Jake, May, Tom, and Linda.
John Jack is what? John Jack is employee.
Yeah, so you put May.
I put a May as a value for assistant, right? As we said, what? Assistant is the secretary object. So here, who is the secretary object? Is May. Okay, and I'm passing just to one object. What about director report?
Box parentheses. And inside you put Linda and Tom.
Okay. So the direct report is a list. A list of what? A list of manager objects. Linda, Tom, they are the object of manager. I put them into a list and parsing at the value for direct report. Louis, are you following?
Yes.
Okay. So I have create these 4 class, right? And we create several objects to test it, right? To test it. So now what we left? Right, left is, okay, we need to speed up, okay? Next is about the salary module. Okay. Salary module has nothing. Okay, it has only what? Only one function called get salary. And we are parsing employee. Anybody know what's the type of employee it is? What is the employee here? Aston, do you know?
Employee is is a class, is a regular class, is the parent class.
Oh, okay, very good. Employee is a verb. Okay, it's called function verb or permit verb. Okay, but the actual value we're passing to this function, which will be an object of class. Okay, so let's see what we're doing here. We said if it's instance employee director. What does it mean? Aston, what is this line of meaning? Aston?
If the statement is true.
I know. What statement? What is the statement meaning?
Oh, if it's if the object is of the director class.
If is the object is, if it is whatever the parsing object is coming from direct class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, very good, right? Same thing here, right? If this object, again, employee, that means it's employee class, right? I may just change to obj, it will be more clear for you guys, right? Avoid any confusion. Object is object, okay? It depends on whatever the value is passing in, right? So I'm checking if this object is coming from direct class, or this object is coming from the manager class, or if the object is coming from secretary class, and returning different salary value. Clear? Yeah. Okay, here, from employee module, import star. Jeffrey, what does it mean? Why do we need this line?
So you could get the information about like the director, manager, and the
Very
secretary.
good. Okay. We called when you create a module. Why do we need to create a module? Separate different logic in different place, either to maintain and either to reuse. Then the question, how we reuse it? Using what? Import. Okay. So this syntax, right, means, okay, from this module, look at here, the file name, right? File name, okay? Input star means import everything. Import everything. And of course, if you don't want it to import everything from the module, you can specifically say, okay, from module, import specific things. But here, since we need a director, manager, and a secretary, you can write it like this, or you can just write like input star, because my employee module is not too big. I import everything, it's fine. Okay, so that is a salary module. So now let's look at the final module. Third one is a company module. So company module, I did not do much things. I didn't create new stuff. What I do is I first import the stuff from the 2 different modules, and then I create object as we just created in the employee module. Right? Okay, I removed it here. Okay, that's the same code as we're doing here. Okay, create 1 secretary, 2 manager, 1 director. And what I'm doing here is Mary.about. Print out my salary. Yes, salary. What I'm parsing? I'm parsing Mary. Remember, right? I'm parsing Mary. I'm parsing Tom. I'm parsing Linda. I'm parsing Jack. I'm parsing an object. Okay, so if we go back to the salary function, I'm checking if this object is from which class. Okay, from which class. Right? So here, based on the class of the object, I'm returning different salary number. And of course, it's because concatenated with the string, so I'm using the str to do the conversion. Okay, and also I'm calling what? I'm calling object. I'm calling about function of each class. Okay, remember we have different class, different object about, right? In different class, Now let's take a look at this. If I run the code, right? If I run the code, okay, I see the output, right? That is what I need to see, right, in your Turing assignment, which is approving. Yes, your code is working. Okay, that is the final step. You confirm or convince yourself is, yes, I complete the assignment. Okay, so first, Mary about, right? My name is Mary. I'm the secretary. This is my salary. Then the Tom, then the Linda, then Jack. My question here is Jack. Why Jack print out 3 lines, but the other person is print out 2 lines only? Why? Julian, do you know?
Because
Go ahead, Aston.
because it also has the about function from the manager class.
If you go back to the class definition, right? In the direct, I'm Jack is the director, right? So when I call, see here, Jack is a director. When I call Jack about, right? You know what? Let's do some debug. Okay, put it here. I put employee module. I put it here. I put it here. I put here. Let's see what I'm doing. Okay. I'll go back to the company. I said, let me debug it. Okay. So when you do your homework, right, try to use debug, because debug can tell you what's going on step by step. Okay, here. Stop here because I have a debug here, which I don't need. I delete them. Now I proceed. So there is a resume program, right? So I'll keep running, keep running, keep running. Okay, so the bot will be called actually now. Okay, here. My code is stopped here. And if you look at, hey, this variable list, I have 4 variables. Why? I have 4 object variables, right? And each object, I can see their property and value, right? So you can know what is going to happen in your program. So now I have object about, right? Let me proceed. What happened? I'm calling director about function. And it's coming here. Yeah, it's getting to the about function, but what I'm doing first, I'm calling super my parents about, which is here, which were manage about. So if I proceed, this stop execution point will come here, 24. See, it's jumping here because it's calling the super the about firstly. So it will exactly print out this line firstly. Right? If I clean it up, let's see, proceed. All right, I am printing out this line. And after it's completed, it will come back here and move to the next line, which is print out this messages. That's it. Okay. So any question? Any more questions? Are we clear? Parent, child parent, super, modules. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So if this is clear, let's move to today's new stuff. So as you can see, we are almost complete most of the basic stuff, right? There's still several items we try to cover basic stuff, right? By the end of a few classes. Okay. Today we're gonna take a look at file handling. What is the file handling? What is the file? Gladys, what is the file?
What?
What is the file? F-I-L-E.
It's a file.
It's a file.
No, it's. I think it's like. I mean. I think it's like something like to like. I think file is something that you put things into it.
Look at here. I have this folder. I have folder and I need a folder. I also have a file, right? If I create a new directory, yeah, so file, I give a direct name, it's called file. So if I open that in the Explorer, right, it will be more obvious to you guys, right? One second here. That it is the same directory as in the PyCharm. Right? As you can see, I have all the folder and all the files. Okay. So now I have create new folder called file. Right? It's a folder, but you know what? I should change that because you guys will make confused again. File. This folder has different name. Let's call that a file. File handler. Okay, so it is a folder. And when we're talking about file, which means something inside a folder, we can create file. How you create file? In the Windows, right, you can set a new file. You can create different file. What type of file do we have? Python file, HTML file, TXT file, Word document, Excel, image file, game file, right? ext application file. That's all called files. Lots of different files, right? And based on different type of file, right? You might use the file for a specific purpose. So most basic file we call TXT, text document, right? Text document. So that type of file which is ending with file extension, .txt. Okay, do you guys know what is the file extension? Louis, you know what is the file extension?
No.
What is the file extension? Do you know?
No.
File extension is whatever the part of the file name, right? Okay, here we have new text document like testing.txt file. That is a text document file. Look at here, .py. .py is what? .py is Python file. And if you guys see, see what file do I have, right? Yeah, we have different type of, this file is not able to see. Okay, here. JPG file, right? And we have JPG, what is image file. So we have different file with different file extension, okay? Here, what we are doing, running here is we're gonna use the Python to operate in your file. Normally when we say, hey, let's create a new file, you have to go to the file explorer, right? And to create a new file, and then after you create a new file, you say, let me edit the new file. It will open the new file into software or edit, right? You're typing something, okay, hey, this is a testing file, testing. And now you save the file, I close that, and next time I come back, open again, you're gonna have the file or have the content, right? That you have to do manually, okay? So most of the programming languages can programming to do those modification on the file. Okay, that is very important, right? If your system will become complicated because you have to write the data into the file, into some storage, right? So here, Python have the several functions for creating, reading, and updating and deleting files. Okay, creating, reading, updating, and deleting. Okay, so that's 4 basic operations on the file. Okay, the key function for working with a file in Python is open. Open takes 2 parameters, file name and mode. File name is easy to understand, right? Because when we say, hey, I wanted to manipulate on a file, you have to tell me which file you're going to manipulate it now. File name. And then model. Mode, right? Mode have 4 different methods. Mode for open a file. It basically means what you want to do on the file. R stands for read. I just read the content from file. I will never touch the content or change it. A means append. Append means what? Listen, what does append mean?
I forgot.
Append. Do you know English name or English meaning of append?
No.
And you what? What's append mean? Append in English means not override or deleting the existing value. What I do is I just add more to the end of the current content. Okay,
So
that's
how-
append. What?
How do you like append for what we're doing right now?
Okay, let me tell you what is append. I have a file, right? Testing.txt. I open
Yeah.
it. Oh, there is already content, right? Just testing, right?
Yeah.
What's mean append? Append means I add a new value to the end of the current content, 1, 2, 3, and then I save it. That's called the append. You add a new value to the end of the current content. That's called append. Clear?
So it doesn't change the other one?
It will not change the value, the existing value. Okay? It's just add new value to the end. You remember when we're talking about the list, right? We said that, hey, list dot append the new item. That's the same meaning, right? Append means add to the end, right? Add to the end.
Yeah.
Okay, that's called append. So now W means write. Open a file for writing. Create a file if it does not exist. What's different? Append and write. Okay, we're gonna test it together later. X means create. Okay, create a specific file, return an arrow if the file exists. Okay, create. And then additionally, you can specify if the file should be handled as a binary or text mode. T is text, B is binary. What's the meaning of binary? Because you need to understand the computer storing the file in different formats. Okay, depends on the type of the format. For example, if I'm using, where is my this is my simple TXT file. I open that. I can see exactly content and which I can understand by reading it. That's called T. That's called what? Text file. Because it's something content I can understand, right? I can understand. That's called text type file. But not all the file, if you open that, you understand it. Why do I say so? Okay, let me show you something. If I go to 3Q, especially for the image, right? I go to design. Okay, I need this one. If I open it to a Notepad++, That's it. If I open the file by using Notepad, what do you think? What is this? I don't understand. Okay, because why? Because for some specific image or file type, they are storing the data into different formats, which is not human readable. This can only understand by machine or by that specific software. Okay? You may ask me, why do we have to doing like that? Because image, you cannot, describe the image by just using readable. But when you say image file, it is contain all the information of the image, right? You cannot just like using text to describe or decide what image it is. It has to store in those data for color, data for size. Okay, so that's the reason why we are using different type to store the data. Okay, that's just a basic explanation. Syntax. Okay, let's take on how we open the file. File, we create a variable called file. Open dot, what is this? File name, right? File name. Okay, now let's have a try. Is that the code above is the same as RT? Okay, look at here. What we said, we can have two parameters. One is file name, the other the mode. Mode can be combination of the reader type and the file type. So if you look at here, first is the file name. Second is what? Second is, first R is what? Operation mode. Either R, either A, either X, right? T is for the default value, default text value, right? You do not need to specify them. Okay, so he said you can just put the file name, right, without putting the second parameter, okay, because this is the default. We know function has a default value. Okay, now let's go to read file. Let's look at what exactly we can read the file. Okay, so suppose that is a demo file.txt. You know what? Let's do the testing by ourselves. Okay, I go to PyCharm. I have the file handling folder. See the file handling folder. I already have a. This the thing is duplicate. We need my file name. Make it only one txt extension. Okay, now if I open that, that is the content we created before, right? We are learning Python file handling. Okay, we can read, write, delete a file, right? That's very useful. Okay, so here in this txt file, I write 3 lines of text, right? So now let me create a file Python, right? We said file, maybe test. We don't need dot, right? By default, it has .py. Okay, so now let's go back to the code. What we have to do? We have the file ready. Now let's using open. Okay. First, you need to create this file. I could have put a full name. Okay. Open what? I give you the hint. You need to tell me what is the file name you want to open, right? Which is testing.txt. That's the problem here because I need what? I need to put a double quote or single quote. Okay? Put a double quote or single quote. And what else? The second parameter we need to put the operation mode. Okay, I want to put R, which means read only, right? So now I open the file. Think about that, right? It's just like you are open the file, but now you need to read that. Okay, so print what? File dot read. That's it. 2 lines of code. I open the file by giving the file name and the operation mode. I want to read that only. I didn't put a W, I don't put A, right? I just put R. And I just print out whatever inside the file. Right? We need file that read. I read the content out and print it out. Print in my console. You see, that is exactly content in your file. Right? Great. And again, we said R is a default value. You can don't even put an R. If we run this, you can still work. Any question?
What does WASD stand for?
WA, yeah, we're going to talk about the other several cases, right? So that's R. Okay. Open the file on different location. Yeah, that is good. Because sometimes this file is not in the same location as yours. Why I see that? Look at here. My file test.py and the testing.txt is in the same folder, right? That's the reason why I can put the file name directly. What happened if I have a file, suppose, outside? How can I do that? Okay, let's do this example. I wanted to read the file from the new module.py. In this case, I have using // I explain to you guys this. Okay. Which file I'm talking about? New module, right? New module.py. Let me first test it. Oh, what do you see? I print out the contents of the file. But what I'm talking about here is this. It's called the relative file path. Did I explain to you guys before? Dot, right? And what? Dot is different. Dot means current directory. Dot means back to my parent directory. Right? So in this case, since my file test.py is here, if I wanted to access the new module.py, I have to one level up. I have to back to my parent folder and then switch me here. This is my current folder, file of Henry. I have to jump in one more level up, which is and then the file. Are you guys following? Victor Felix, are you guys understand this? What does this mean?
Can you please explain it one more time?
Explain one more time, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So in the file system, when we say file, we know the concept of different file directory, right? If I run this, if I go to okay, look at here. That is my file test.py file, right? Here, that's the same folder, right? I just explained the file. Yeah, open that in the file explorer. I have the file test.py, I have testing. So when I try to open the testing file, it's easy because we are in, both of us are in the same what? Folder. So I can use testing.py, testing.txt directly. Okay, I run this, it read to me. But suppose I'm here, but I'm trying to read some file which is not in the same directory. Suppose I go to, I want to read this one. This one is not inside my file because if you look at here, I'm here. I have to what? I have to one more directory up. And then I'm able to find this file. Do you know the relative path? I have one more step up. I'm here right now. Okay? In the same directory, I can only find the testing. But if I wanted to find some file which is outside, I need to find the the directive, relative path. In this case, I have to jump one more level up, back to my parent directory, which is first Python, and then I found this file. That's the reason why we need to put // right, and new module.py. If I run this, I'm able to read the file. If you want to try this, if I didn't put the file path correctly, I'm putting here, but I don't have that in the same folder, right? I run this, it's giving you what? No such file or directory found. So when you see this arrow, which means you put the wrong file path. Understand?
Yeah.
So now let me ask you, what happened if I wanted to read salary.py? What should
You
I
put
put?
salary.py as a parameter.
I know. What's the relative path should I put here? Listen. I'm here, right? File test file is here, right? Let me close others. I'm here right now. Now I want to go to here. I want to read this file. We are not in the same directory, right? I'm in the file canary here in practice 7, right? How can I access this? Oh. First, you have to one level up, ... If it's a 2 level up, ... 3 level up, ... okay? It's 1 level up, okay? Every level up, you put ... /. But here, I just need 1 level up. File handling, or 1 level up is comes to the first Python. Now, what's next? I'm here right now. Oh, I know the salary.py is in the practice 7 folder. So I'll put it practice 7 folder / salary.py. No, that's the way how I access that file. Are you guys following? I run this, I'm able to print out the content. Well, if you put something wrong, hey, you put 1 more level up. I run this. No, you cannot find the file, right? Or you put the folder name wrong. Okay, there's no such folder existing.
How do you know how many level ups do you need?
You count it. You know you're here.
Yeah.
I need to go here, right?
Yeah.
That's it. You know you're here. I need to go here. I know I need 1 level up first and then come to his folder. And what happened? There's 1 more folder. Project / images, the file name. Right? What about several level up? You have to put ... /.
What about level down?
Level down, I said, right? Level down, you need to put the folder name, right? I'm on this one. I now level down. Okay, when it's level down, which means you have 1 more folder here, right? Like this.
Okay.
Put it here.
So you can only go level up, and when you're at the top,
Yeah,
you just put the file name.
Okay, let's continue. So if I have a folder in the folder, right? Suppose here. Now what happened is testing.txt is in 1 level down, right? 1 level down. So what I need to do is I just need to put test folder and testing.txt. That's it. Right? I'm able to read that. Okay? So Victor, fellas, you get that?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's continue. So we have done the read. Okay, read only part of the file. Okay, that's interesting. Read file. Earlier what we do, read directly, right? Let me see, what's the meaning of read file? Okay, what does it mean? Ask them. If you look at output, make a guess. What's the read file mean?
It like prints out the first few characters, like depending on the number you put in. That's what it prints out.
Print out the first 5 characters. Okay, it's a character. Okay, how many characters you're gonna print out, right? I mean, maybe it's useful. I don't know in what case it's useful, but that's a different way you read the file. Okay. So, but next, read line. Yeah, that is more useful. You want to read line one by one, right? So I read line. It's called file. Okay, and I read the entire line. But the problem is normally you may need what? Read the line, read the line, read the whole line. Okay.
Can you put a parameter for which line?
That's a good question. If I put 2, let's see if it's working or not. Oh, looks like it's only read the whole line and the character. Okay. Read line, okay. 2 line. Loop through the file line one by. Hey, that is good, right? Because sometimes maybe the file has lots of lines. You don't know how many lines you have to read out, right? So the easiest way is we're using loop, right? Here we're using loop. Okay, for x in f, print x. Okay, so you can print out all the characters. I think it's character. I think it's a character. How do we know that? Right, let's try say the count equals to 0. And every time I say the count plus plus. Okay, and finally I'm gonna print out why this not working. Let's see how many loop it is, right? 3. Oh, this is a line. Okay, this is a line. X means line. Print x. Okay, print x. Okay, so after you read the file, you can close it. File close. That is actually good, practice. All right. You every time after you read, you close the file, just like you read a book, right? After reading finish, you close the book. Because systematically say if you don't close the file will keep opening. Okay, and it will cost resource of your computer. Okay? It will cost resource of the computer. So file.close is actually a good practice. Okay, good practice. Okay, we're done read. Now let's quickly take a look at write and create. We know A and W, right? What's the difference? A is append. Okay, now if we said I open the file, I said A. So now I'm able to make the changes to the file, right? This is the current file. So we said F.write. Okay, let's try this. What I do? F, which is the file, write, this is the new content, right? But remember, this is A. A means what? A means append, okay? So now if I run the code, it's completed, right? I go to the file. What do you see? This content is added. I mean, though it's not have a new line of break, but it's added, right? It's appended. Okay, as you can see, as appended at the end of the file, right? Okay, that is A. What about W? If I change to W and run this, what you're gonna see is the whole file is overwrite. That's the difference between append and write. Are you guys following? Julian, Louis?
Yes.
What's the difference between A and W? Huh?
A adds and W. A adds and W gets rid of everything and then adds.
A is append, added to the end of the content. W gonna override the existing content. Okay? If you're using W mode, it's gonna overwrite the current content. Everything start over. Fellas, understand?
Yeah.
So the mode when you open the file it's very important. Okay, it's very important. Okay. Okay, now let's take a look at X. X means create. So if I don't have a file, I create it. Okay, so now let's take a look at that. Okay? I'm trying to open a file, testing2, but you know, it's not existing, right? So what I do is I put X, means what? I create a new file. What do you see? It's programming to create a new file for you. It's empty, right? But it's creating a new file. That's called X. Okay, that's called X. But additionally, actually, if you go back here, read the four different mode, okay? R means what? Read. Open the file for reading. Arrow if the file does not exist. Remember, I do it here. I said testing 3, or do I have testing 3? I don't have, right? I run this. It give you arrow, okay? Because you try to read existing file. What about A? If I open the file for appending, create the file if it does not exist. Oh, if I using A, it will not give me arrow. Instead, what? It's gonna create the file. Oh, this can also create a file. What else? Write. Open the file for writing. Creating a file is not exist. Same thing as W. If I put 4, I run this. 4 is created. Okay, and there's no arrow. And X is just create, right? Nothing else. But hey, X means what? Return an arrow if the file existing. Hey, that's interesting, right? If I said create a 4, but I said X, do I have 4? I have 4, right? But I'm still trying to create a 4. It's giving you arrows, and the 4 is already existing. So it looks like if I'm using A and W, it will be most convenient, right? Because I don't need to worry about if it's existing or not, right? I just open that with mode A or W. If it's not existing, it help me to create. If it's existing, it just open it. Right? So that's a 4 different mode how we create or operate on file. Let's take a look what else. Delete. Delete is simple, right? Or delete is a little bit different. Because if you want delete, you have to import a module called OS. OS is a built-in module. To see here module, it stands for operation system. Because when you try to delete a file, it's actually delete from the file system. That's the reason why we need that module. Right? Let's try this. Import OS. Import OS, and we said OS dot remove. Right? That remove. Okay. So the file. Asking for the txt. Well, the file cannot find the file. So because why? Because the file path is not correct. Okay, that's a common issue. I need to put test slash. Now it's gone. Do you see here? It's gone. Try it again. Testing 3. It's gone. Okay, so what do I do? Import OS module using os.remove function.
What does OS do?
OS is calling is a built-in module. It's calling the underlying file system to delete the file. Right? It's basically just like you yourself come here and click on delete.
So
but here, well, the program is doing that for you. Clear?
So OS can file your folders.
OS can delete the file. Okay.
Okay.
And if we look at here, it even can delete, it even can check if the file exists, right? So what happens if I have 3, okay, it's already deleted, right? If I try to delete again, give it an arrow, cannot find the file, right? It's sometimes I don't want it through arrow. What I do, I check if the path exists. So what does it mean? It means before you delete something, check if it's existing. If it's not existing, then don't do anything. You don't need to give me arrow. Okay, but please test it or check it if it is existing before you delete it. Right? Else, print no target found. What does it mean? I first check if the path is existing. I'm using the os.path that exists, right? If it is, I remove it. Otherwise, I print out no target found. Target found, right? If I change it this casting.txt, right? I remove the txt. It's gonna delete the file. The file's gone. File's gone.
Cool.
Cool, right? And RMDIR, remove directory. You cannot even just remove the file, you can remove directory. What I do? Remove directory. What directory I'm having? Test. Let me delete the file, test folder. See, delete it. Right? So today, right, we learned the basic file handling, the I/O handling. Because when you unit program, most of the time you have to create data. Where you should put the data, you put into the file system. You need to create a file, you need to modify a file, you need to delete the file. That's called a file handling. Okay, any question?
Nope.
Okay, great. So today, I'm gonna post this link right to the Google Classroom. You guys can take a look and test it by yourself. And the assignment of this week is also gonna about the file handling. I believe it should not be so as difficult as previous weeks. Okay, so please read it carefully and test it and try to finish that. Okay, just remember one thing: the relative path. Okay, relative path. If I wanted to go to one level up using // one level up. If you want to go to one level down, put the folder name. Just go to one level down. That's it. Okay. Then, if no more questions, that's the end of today's class. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.